Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. All right, so now we're back with another example. This time, notice how our directions are to solve. Okay, so we've got this x squared. I'm just going to rewrite it because that's kind of just who I am. All right, so we have x squared plus 2/3 x plus 1/9 equals 0. All right, the very first thing that I want to do, you guys, is just go ahead. I don't like these fractions. Fractions are tough to read. They're tough to deal with. Trying to figure out how to break that 1/9 down is not super easy. So what I'm going to do to begin with is I'm going to start by multiplying the entire thing by 9. So once I do that, then here I'm going to have 9x squared, and then I'm going to have 6x, and then plus 1. Okay, this is a key part of this, that you have 1 and you have 9. Okay, because again, remember, one of our main things is we need to start recognizing when we have perfect squares. Okay, so right now what we can do is we can take, and instead of having to do AC split, let's just take and let's split this up. So I know I have 1 and 1 back there because the only way I can come up with 1 and 1 is 1. And then I want to figure out, like, how can I get 9? How can I multiply 9 so that it'll give me 6? And for that, I just have to go ahead and I have to realize that that's just going to be 3x and 3x. Okay, now here's our zero product property. It's equal to 0. So what we have the ability to do is we can just take each of these pieces, and realistically, you only need to take one because they're the exact same term. So all you need to do is just take one of these, set it equal to 0, and solve. So subtract 1 from each side, divide both sides by 3. So x is going to equal -1/3. And it's really just as basic as that. So for the next slide, I gotta move this down just a little bit here. For numbers 12, 13, and 14 down here on the bottom, I want you guys to pause the video and try them. Try 12, 13, and 14 on your own. Take a look at number 13 though. That's gonna be a tricky one. You're not going to be able to just multiply by some number like I did on the last one. That one you actually have to figure out. How can I split this up? But you guys take a look at it. You have 49 and 36. Again, two perfect squares. Okay, so that's your one hint. Work with it for a little bit. Try it. Do what you can. And then come back. All right. So here's what we have. For the first one, you're just separating that into a plus 3 and a plus 3. You come up with a equals -3. Again, although it shows up twice, you only need to write it once. For number 13, this is the one that I was just talking about, how we need to break it up. Both 49 and 36, they're perfect squares. So you can just split that up into 7/6 and 7/6. And then for number 14, you have n squared minus 81. You don't have a middle term, which again means that you have to have opposing signs. So -9, +9. This one you do have to solve. And I just realized that I made a little tiny mistake here. That should be n equals -9. So let me just change that really quick. N equals -9. So you have two solutions here. All right, let's move on to the word problem then. This will be the last part of this video. Okay, so we have a bird picks up a golf ball and drops it while flying. The function represents the height in feet of the golf ball t seconds after it's dropped. The ball hits the top of a 32-foot tall pine tree. After how many seconds does the ball hit the tree? So, first things first, I just went ahead and I rewrote the function over here in this white space because that just, I wanted to rewrite it. Now, the main point of this, the main concept that we want to be able to come across is how many seconds. That's what we need to figure out. How many seconds does, after how many seconds does the ball hit the tree? So, first thing that I think we should do is we should start by using this piece of information right here. It is a 32-foot tall pine tree. Now, you guys, if we think of this as like this being the y-axis, right? We wanted to hit this tree. That's my attempt at, I know it's an evergreen, but you know, let's just roll with it. Basically, this is the y-axis. We want to find this point right here. Okay? So how many seconds, right? 32 feet equals 81 minus 16t squared. We want to get to use that zero product property piece again. So let's subtract 32 from both sides. Right? So then what's going to happen next is we are just going to simplify. So I have negative 16t squared. And then, let's see, what do I have on the other side? That should be 49. So we're setting that equal to 0. Recognize, 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 recognize. What do we know about both 49 and 16? They're both perfect squares. So let's break this up into, let's see, 49, I'm going to break up into 7 and 7. And again, we know that we have to use the perfect squares because we don't have a middle term. So 49 breaks up into 7 and 7. 16 breaks up into 4 and 4. And then I got to put a T with each of those. Middle term is gone, which means that our signs have to be opposite of each other. So now we're going to finish up using that zero product property piece. So 7 plus 4t equals 0. 7 minus 4t equals 0. Let's just solve really quick. So I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. Divide by 4. T equals negative 7/4. So now I'm going to do this just slightly different than normal. I'm going to add 4t over to the other side just because I want my t to be positive. Let's divide both sides by 4. So now I come up with t equals, same kind of idea, 7/4. Now let's think about this, you guys. We're trying to figure out after how many seconds does it make sense for our seconds to be negative? Hopefully you guys are yelling at the screen saying no. So our answer here should be 7/4 if you want to change it into a decimal, which I guess makes more sense because we usually talk about time like that. We don't really say, oh, it was 7/4 of a second. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So let's just change this really quickly into 1.75 seconds. And then there we are. We're done. Okay, so again, make sure that you've got all your notes done because you are turning these notes in for points at the end of this. We have just one more section left of this chapter and then we'll kind of start talking about a test. I hope you guys are enjoying your night. We'll see you tomorrow.